I'd be on tour for 6 or 8 weeks at a time, sometimes gone 300 plus days out of the year. And so when we would be on tour, if I'd wake up early on a Sunday, I would just Google, like, where's the closest church? And I would just walk and sit in the back row of a church and with my eyes filled with tears thinking, I'm so glad I'm around people that love Jesus. Everywhere I go, people cuss me out for talking about him. And I'm like so thankful I get to be around people that like him. And I would walk into the church like a starving man would walk into a buffet. Whoa. Like I would walk into the church like my life depended on it. I needed the church. I needed the people of God, the presence of God. It was just so life-giving for me. And so I have always had such an admiration for pastors that even when I would travel to preach at conferences and church events, I would always just come to the pastor and say, how can I serve you? I just want to bless you. And I just really believe in the local church and local pastors, and never had any intent or expectation to plant a church, but I traveled around a lot in music and then itinerant evangelistic ministry. I felt like I had sort of, like maybe 99% of the people that heard my message would be encouraged or inspired. They'd answer the altar call and they'd go home and just kind of go on about their lives. But there'd be this sort of 1% of people that would hear what I've heard people call like the voice within the voice. They would hear this permission from God to become who they've always known they were called to be. These are people that, they don't just go home and move on. They buy my books, watch every YouTube video I come out with. They listen to the podcast. They devour everything. They come start driving for hours and hours to every event that I go to in their area. And there's like a kinship, It's like God like weaves our hearts together. I was sitting on the floor in my spiritual father's church. We have prayer every Sunday morning there. And I was just in there praying, and I just heard the Lord. I wasn't asking for a calling. I was happy doing what I was doing, but he just said, Maddie, it's time to gather the family. And I knew what he meant. It was like me and my wife were going to set a table and begin to invite the 1% of people, those that were driving, from all over to come to events I was preaching at.